remind me, what was your story to be about?
You have to read.
Yeah, I left the book out there. And I don't want to bring it in because I would need light.
I forgot.
Okay, so I will tell you a story.
Wait a minute, I remember. I want my story to be about the mystery of the nightmare.
Okay. Little Johnny grew up in a town that was very, very different from what you and I are used to. This town was full of mysteries. For example, there was the house of the Petersons. The Petersons would never been seen. I mean, people knew that someone lived there because sometimes boxes would be delivered to the door, but they would stay there all day, and in the next day, the boxes would be gone. So everybody assumed that the Petersons existed, and they picked up their mail in the middle of the night, but nobody ever saw them. Then there was the mystery of the house that was never built. It was a lot that sat empty forever. Ever since little Johnny had been born, that lot had sat empty. However, in that lot, there was a sign that said, "Welcome home." Nobody knew who put it there or whose home it was. And then there was the biggest mystery of all. It was the church that had a secret door. Well, it wasn't really a secret door because all the kids in the neighborhood knew about the door. It was like a door that led to a basement, but nobody had ever opened it. And there were talks that under that door there lived a priest that would always run in circles when somebody said the word amen. And some say that the priest was crazy. Some say that it was a way for him to atone for his sins, but nobody knew what his sins had been. Anyways, little Johnny had a mystery of his own, a mystery that only he knew about. For you see, little Johnny would sometimes have a very unusual type of, shall I say it?
Sure.
I don't want to scare you, but it was a nightmare. In this nightmare, little Johnny would suddenly be at school, and when it was recess, he would go out to play, and all the kids would be running in circles. He thought about the priest, and so in his dream, he was telling everybody, "Stop running in circles and let's play." But everybody was like saying, "Amen, amen, amen," and running in circles. And little Johnny couldn't do anything to stop them. And that was terrifying for him because he was losing his recess time. I mean, yes, it was a dream, but that was no dream. It was a nightmare. I mean, can you imagine losing recess to a bunch of kids that are like zombies and all they do is run around in circles saying amen, amen, amen? It was... What?
They never just stop, but then Tony did that once.
That's...
a real nightmare.
Yes, and a big mystery as to why.
Yeah.
Anyways, little Johnny never found out about any of the mysteries of his town. And that's just a short list. There's more. There's the shop where this shopkeeper would sell sweets and candies, but everybody say that it's a secret front, that in the back this shop would actually sell maps to a treasure hunt, because some of the kids in the town say that they once saw a traveler go inside of the store and come out with a map. And one of the kids asked him, "So what is this map for?" And the traveler said, it's for a treasure hunt, and the traveler was never seen again. So, like I said, there were many mysteries in his town. But the mystery that little Johnny had is a mystery that would soon be unraveled. Anyways, it just so happened that one night, as he was dreaming, he decided, if you can't beat them, join them. Well, that's a big phrase, but I'm not sure that's a good thing to do, because sometimes people are simply doing things that you shouldn't do, and even if you can't beat them, you should think for yourself. That's it. He decided to try something different because he was always yelling at the kids in his dream and they would never stop. And so this time, he decided to go in the circle and try to see why they were doing this, to see if perhaps he could understand. And we started running in circles, and he said, "Amen, amen, amen." The ground disappeared under his feet, and suddenly he started falling and falling, and he was like, "Ah!" And he was falling, but suddenly he realized what was going on. He was falling constantly. He was never stopped falling. He kept going and going and going. And so after about 10 minutes of going, "Ah!" he started like getting used to the sensation. And so after a while, he was like, "Well, this feels kind of weird." Ah! But after like half an hour of falling, he decided, this doesn't feel so bad. How about if I, instead of falling, I try flying? And so he opened his arms and poof, he took off flying. And he started flying at first. He was just flying in the air, but there was nothing around. But suddenly he saw something very small, something that looked like a building. And so he decided to fly towards the building. At this point, he had been flying for a few minutes and he started getting good at it. And so he was able to steer himself through the air just with his sheer will. All he needed to do was project his desire to fly somewhere, and he would do so. He didn't even need to have his arms out, but he liked doing it. Well, as he was getting closer to the building, he noticed that it was the mysterious church with the mysterious door. And this time, that priest that would always run around in circles was standing outside of the mysterious gate. And so he decided to fly and look around. The priest looked up and saw the kid and gave him a really nice smile. Little Johnny didn't know if this was a terrifying mystery or if it was a very interesting and curious mystery. What do you think it was?
Curious mystery.
Well, and so he looked down at the priest and decided to land. And when he landed, he didn't know that this was a dream, mind you. The priest said, "Oh, hi, little Johnny. I was expecting you." "Oh, well, here I am. Sorry to make you wait," said little Johnny. "No problem. I have something to tell you." "Yes, by all means, I'm all ears," said little Johnny. "Well, you see, I have been hiding a mystery all my life, and that mystery is under this door. Are you brave enough to come with me to the depths of the church and see what my mystery is?" What do you think Johnny said?
Yes.
Exactly. And so the priest started walking at the door, but something very mysterious happened. Instead of opening the door, the priest just walked through it. Johnny didn't know what to do, so he just followed him. To his astonishment, he walked through the door as well. And under there was a room that was so cool. It had video games, it had cotton candy machines, it had remote control cars, it had a huge TV with a huge collection of the best movies ever. It even had a fridge full of chocolate and puddings and rice with milk and all the most delicious things. And so little Johnny said, But priest, what is all this? This, little Johnny, is my secret. And now you know about it. I indulge, I treat myself, and I play here and I come here to escape. Sometimes, but nobody must know this. I know that you're here in your dreams. And little Johnny said, Dreams? What's a dream? Still not remembering that he was dreaming. Don't worry, little Johnny. You probably won't forget any of this when you wake up, said the priest. But I had to tell someone. It was eating me inside. For you see, in my religion, it's a sin to do these things. That's why I've kept it hidden all of these years. And that's why nobody in town knows what's under this door except for you. Now go, little Johnny. Go back to your bed and wake up. And hope you don't remember this. But please, if you do, never tell anybody about this. For it will be my ruin, said the priest. Don't worry, said little Johnny. Your secret is safe with me. And so he went flying out again. And before you knew it, he was waking up. And just like the priest had said, he did not remember anything. Well, come Sunday, as his family did, they would take him to church. Catholics do that, and Christians too as well. But in this case, it was a Catholic church anyways. And, well, when he was going to church, he saw the priest. And suddenly, he got this strange feeling. He couldn't remember his dream, but he got this strange feeling that as much as the priest was actually preaching and talking about the Bible and stuff like that, he was actually thinking about video games. What? How's that possible? Where did that thought come from? He decided not to say anything. I mean, it was crazy. A priest playing video games? No way, no how. But later on, as the priest was walking and saying hi to everybody that had gone to church, he looked at little Johnny, and they both locked eyes. And they both said at the same time, Video games? Oh! And that's when Johnny remembered everything. The priest turned white. He said, Shh, don't tell anybody, please. And little Johnny said, You have to invite me to play with you. And the priest said, Okay, but this is going to be our secret. And so that's how little Johnny discovered video games, because his family wouldn't let him play. And it was so much fun. But at the same time, the priest told him about all the bad thing about video games and how he needed to be very careful with them, because especially with little kids, video games can hurt them by changing their brain and their minds and creating ideas and things that are not appropriate, because kids need to learn a lot before they can do that. And so he learned about those things and he started studying. And when he started studying, he realized what was going on. And so he decided that he wanted to learn more so he can create better video games. And that's how little Johnny later on in life kept a secret forever, but became the best game developer ever. And instead of making bad games, he made good games that would help people learn. For example, there's a game that's for coding. And it's a game that lots of kids have on their phones and tablets, and they play that game. And so now you know. If you ever come across a game that teaches you coding, there's a big mystery story behind that game that only little Johnny knows about. And that's the story about the mystery that had a... What was it?
That had the mystery of the mystery nightmare.
Yes.
The name of that story.
Yes. The end.
Yay! Best story ever.
Yay. Good night, Picking